Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John, this is MacLeod Truder, and welcome to Interstellar Transport Company, a space strategy game. They could have just stopped there, I'd have started playing it at that point. That's basically kind of like all about building out and supporting colonies and building infrastructure on planets, and then figuring out how trade works and trading between them. So kind of like a slightly smaller indie Stellaris, except with the focus very much on economy and trade, rather than overwhelmingly on warfare, as Stellaris ultimately tends to end up. So yes, I'm up for this. I also like how one of the company colours you can have is a nice hot fuchsia. I always like a nice on-brand hot fuchsia. So, welcome to the galaxy. It's 2050, we've got like the beginnings of humans in space, we've got a few colonies dotted around, but they haven't really gone very far so far, and apparently no one really had the bright idea of like, letting private companies have a crack at handling trade in space yet. That's just beginning right now. So, the nice green one here, that's Sol. Would you believe that's where we live? We're humans, we're great. This game's all about humans. So, what we've got to do is that the space police? Oh, I didn't even notice that's there before. That's just the space police. There we are. Good old space police. You know they're space police because they're flashing space police colours. Marvellous. I didn't even realise that was there. So here's our solar system anyway, and as you can see, we've got planets here. Probably you've heard of these. So we've got Jupiter and Saturn, and they've got moons. They haven't got all the moons, by the way. They've just got some of the moons. We've got Uranus and Neptune and... Excuse me, game. Worst game this year. Worst game. Stellaris has Pluto. Stellaris has Pluto. I don't care, even if you think it's not a bloody planet, and Pluto is a bloody planet, even then, it should be here, represented somewhere. But anyway, most of these don't have colonies on them right now. We can't do anything with them. Instead, there's only a few places that have got colonies. In particular, there's only 3. We've got Earth, we've got its moon, and we've got Mars over here. For the moment, at least, let's just worry about Earth and its moon. Let's be like the first episode of let's be like the second episode of Futurama, and make our first little endeavour just be a quick milk run to the moon. Literally, possibly. What you need to do is basically match up supply and demand. Pretty easy as a starting point. So, you go into a planet and it'll tell you what's going on in terms of supply and demand. So, Earth has a little bit of spare food, plenty of spare water, and also some spare consumer goods. Fine, but it could really, really use some raw materials and some rare resources as well. As for people, it's pretty much a balance there. Some people wouldn't mind coming to Earth, some people wouldn't mind leaving, but people seem pretty happy here, all things considered. But really, what we need to learn here is, Earth needs raw materials and rare resources, but is willing to hand out some consumer goods, water, and a tiny bit of food as well. Fine. So let's go and find something to pair that up with. Because perfect scenario, I could actually find a second planet to pair with Earth. So therefore, I would have, on that planet, stuff that Earth wanted, meanwhile the stuff it wants, Earth has. And then we can get a nice little trading backwards and forwards going. Wouldn't that be lovely? So, let's check on the moon, and I think conveniently, pretty much always it's set up in just the perfect way. So the moon, just spot on, actually needs water, of which Earth has plenty, but the moon just doesn't really have enough. Needs food. Earth's got a little bit of spare food. Needs some consumer goods. The Earth has, some of that, but not much. Also, this place needs some colonists as well, so we might want to consider putting in a little bit of passenger stuff. They need machinery. Now, Earth can't really do that yet. We'll get back to that. But also, perfectly, this place has raw materials and rare resources. So it's got pretty much everything we actually flipping need. And it's got a little outpost here, albeit there's not much there. I can, at any point I want, just basically build stuff here, but I don't need to do that just yet. Don't worry about that in the slightest. So we now know that we can have a nice little easy thing between the moon and the Earth. So I'd say let's get that going on here. So first things first, we're going to need to buy ourselves a ship. We start off with a nice little kitty. Let's buy ourselves a ship. Let's just start off with this nice cheap one for 20,000. If you want, you can buy really cheap ones down here. These are one-use only ones because they're rockets. I don't really know what they're for, to be honest. Possibly like the game's going to start throwing in like missions where it says, hey, we urgently need like this as a one-off here. So maybe you'd use like a rocket for that just to fulfill like a demand very, very quickly indeed. But I haven't really seen a use for those yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to buy the Doing 909, which has plenty of slots. Before we buy it though, we have to specify what it's actually going to be carrying. Because it's got this 5x4 empty grid. If I wanted to spend loads of money, I could carry a lot more with me. But let's just start off with the basic Doing 909, because we're going to have to spend a fair bit of money on other stuff yet. So, we know we want to bring a load of water to the moon. That's absolutely fine. So let's have a fair bit of liquid storage on this thing. We also know we want to bring some colonists. Just a few colonists. So maybe just like 2 spots for colonists. Let's also say we're going to be having, a little bit of food. So we're going to need the dry climate controlled for food. And that can also hold consumer goods as well. Fine. So we know the moon also needs a tiny bit of consumer goods. That's nice. So we're going to want a few bits of that. Now, the rest of the spots we probably want to reserve for other stuff. So, raw materials. Raw materials. What takes rare materials? Is that rare materials? Yeah, that's rare resources. Okay, so rare resources are also in dry climate control. So we can take some stuff back with us there. Because, of course, these are going to be filled up when we leave Earth and go over to the moon. But these are going to be empty when we come back. These are really useful. Because this one, they can be carrying food when we're going out and rare resources when we're coming back. Actually, food and consumer goods going out and rare resources coming back. So these ones are probably pretty valuable. So maybe I put an extra one beyond what I was planning to there. We also want a dry hopper because, raw materials are really in demand on Earth. So let's put a raw material thing in there. But bear in mind, all of these and all of the water ones are only going to be used one way. So that's a little bit on the inefficient side. If, for example, I could find a pair of worlds where one world desperately needed food but had loads of consumer goods, and on the other side, there was a load of consumer goods, they just needed food. That'd be perfect, because then I could just buy a massive ship with nothing but dry climate controlled. But that's okay, that's absolutely fine. So, now that we've kind of specified how that's all going to work, we're going to order our ship at this point. So, ship is going to be ordered, that's going to be coming in a little bit. So I'm just going to get time ticking along while that ship's in production. Let's get rid of that for the minute, because we need to specify the route at this point. So, new route, let's lay out a route here. So, add a stop, we're going to be adding Earth, that's our starting point. Add another stop back to the moon. So it's going to be Earth and moon. And now we have to specify how we're going to actually make things work. Also, before my ship's done, I actually need to buy a slot for it to land in. So, this ship dock right here, I'm going to lease that for quite a lot of money. $30,000 up front, and then I need to pay $1,500 a month, like as the ongoing rent for that. So that's fine. That's where my ship's going to be when it's actually done. So that's lovely. But we're going to need that. Also, we also need a second one of those on the moon. Anywhere you want to trade, you're going to be needing gates either side. So there's a big amount of money. But actually, this one's a bit cheaper because the moon's a lot smaller. Let's get this all laid out. So, on Earth, there's something very important we need to do, which is on Earth, I want to, under no circumstances, unload water. So for water, never actually deliver water to Earth, because Earth has got water, so the price is going to be crappy. If we've got any spare water on our boat, leave it there, and then when we get back to the moon, we'll actually sell that there, so that's absolutely fine. But also, when we do get to Earth, I want to always wait for a full load of water. So we want to always be picking up all the water we can, and we always want to be delivering absolutely none of it. Now, as for passengers, I'm going to say basically don't bother. Like, if people happen to want to get on board, they can, but we're not going to make it wait for them. Instead, over on the moon, meanwhile, opposite things going to be true. So in terms of water, we always want to unload all. But as for raw materials, we absolutely want to wait for a full load, because that's the big important thing right there. We always want to wait for a full load of raw materials. Rare resources, there's not that many of them floating around, so don't worry about that. So that should now be a good route for us. So lovely, let's just get that there. Marvellous. Now, we just need to wait for our ship to be delivered, because right now it's on order, the thing is just being built. But while we're actually waiting for it to show up, we can indeed give it a route here. So it's on order, open the route. No, we've already got a route, don't worry. Let's just wait for it to arrive. Oh no, sorry, I need to do it here. So yes, the Earth-Moon supply run. Beautiful, because I can name my routes if I want to. So now we assigned that to that. Beautiful, so now it is assigned to that route. Just wait for it to arrive, speed up time, and let the moon spin around the Earth a little bit. And as soon as it does indeed arrive, we can get it going. Right, and you can keep an eye here what's actually on this thing. So if I click start, it'll start working. I don't think it'll actually... I don't think it should set off immediately. Oh, no, it will, because you see there, it's already filled up. So it's already got itself a bunch of, well, either food or consumer goods. We can't actually see what's in there. 2 people from the 2 spots, and a load of actual water. But of course, it's got no raw materials because Earth doesn't really have any spare. So now we kick off time again, and there's my little ship, just heading its way. If I want to, I can rename it and stuff, which is all very, very cool indeed. So it makes it to the moon, and immediately makes a really nice bit of profit. Now it's just waiting and doing some loading and unloading, and I've said that it shouldn't actually set off again until it's picked up a whole bunch of stuff. So right now it's loading and unloading, and it shouldn't set off until this one goes to 6 out of 6. And if we're lucky, then, hang on, which is the one that's... there we are. So this one's now up to 4 out of 4, because that's picked up rare resources. This one's 6 out of 6, because now that one's heading back to Earth. That'll sell that, and that will make even more money. So you'll see money is now coming back in. Obviously, we've just got to offset the amount of profit it's making versus the fuel cost. This is why it's good to do two-way trips. If you're doing, like a one-way trip, and then having it go home, as a result, you're spending the fuel going home, but you're not making any money. Now it's just maintaining itself. Life is good. Police going around to this area of space is safe. Other areas of space outside the Milky Way and outside of, like, you know, Earth, less safe. Now, right now, I'm the only person in business. Other companies are also in business, and they're going to start coming along, buying docks themselves, all sorts of stuff. Now, this is probably the point where we want to start thinking about doing something on Earth. So there's a bunch of kind of buildings here, and you can see what all of them do. So, hang on, let's just kind of hover over one of these guys. No, not Saturn. I don't look at Saturn. Here we go, into the right screen. So yeah, over on Earth over here, there's a large machinery factory. So if Earth can get hold of rare resources, it will start producing machinery, because there's a machinery factory here. It's just right now there's not enough rare resources to actually produce the machinery. So I'm going to start changing the supply-demand as time goes by. If I flood the market with large amounts of rare resources, then rare resources are going to be in less demand, and also machinery is going to start being supplied by Earth, as I think you can see it's already starting to be, just a tiny bit there, because I'm providing the base materials needed to produce it. So I'm impacting the economy of the solar system already. And if I want to, I can impact it more heavily by building my own stuff here. So if I wanted to actually increase the rate of producing machinery, say because I know that somewhere else needs machine parts, like say I know the moon needs machine parts, I could actually spend a huge amount of money, and it is a big amount of money, it's like $310,000, on subsidizing a new machine factory. But that's only really if Earth starts getting flooded with rare resources. Right now there's still demand for it, so we don't need to worry about that. Meanwhile, Earth is safe, but if I was, say, further away from home, I could build a security station in order to spend some money increasing the security level and thus the safety of my ships so they don't come under attack. A basic hangar's a lot more cheap, basically means my ships start breaking down less often and will just basically be in better condition as time goes by. And a local office over time, though there's an immediate small hit to my planetary company reputation, will in the long run mean my planetary company reputation improves. I'm not really sure what that does yet. I've only played this game for like a few minutes to get hold of like the controls or whatever, but it's probably a good thing. The taxi service is probably the more interesting one, where yeah, basically you get 15% knocked off your loading and unloading times for all of your ships docked at this planet. Now, it feels to me like Earth's probably one of those planets I'm going to visit a lot. You know, it's Earth, it's where humans come from. So I'm going to spend 50,000 on a taxi service right now. Beautiful. And if I want to, I think I can upgrade that as well to knock 22% off my loading and unloading. But let's not worry about that for the time being, because that'll be another 50,000, so don't worry about that. I can also upgrade the spaceport if I want to, which basically just means there's more gates. Earth has plenty of gates, but we might need to worry about that somewhere else. In particular, now we've got this ship over here, we should probably start thinking about, you know, slightly further afield. Which is Mars is a little bit less well colonized compared to the moon, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, Mars has got problems. Which is, Mars is the interesting thing, that Mars right now has plenty of demand, but has basically zero to actually supply, because, you know, it's underdeveloped at the time being. So Mars is a bit more of a fixer-upper. Mars also has the problem that it's only got 2 spots to spaceport. Most big ships need at least 3 spots to be allowed to dock somewhere full stop, basically. So if I wanted to make just like a quick run to Mars with like a one-off rocket, I could do, but instead we should probably upgrade the spaceport, where basically I am... How much is that going to cost? 45,000. Yeah, I think we're going to need to do it. We're going to need to do that. Money's already starting to run a little bit on the shy side, but that's fine. Also, we're going to need to buy ourselves a gate. Actually, you know what? We got here first. We paid for this thing. We get gate 1, damn it. So, only 3,000 for this gate, then 137. It's a very small cost. Now, if I wanted to, if I was being a dick, then I could basically say, hey, I'm actually going to buy all 4 of these gates. If I've bought all 4 of these gates, no one else is allowed to actually get into the Mars business. I'm not going to do that right now because my money's a little bit on the low side, but it is actually a very real possibility, which I quite like. So let's also head over here. We're going to need ourselves a new spot. This is going to be our wing right here. Gate 10, yeah. Remember, Earth is a little bit on the expensive side, but sadly Earth is the only place that's producing, like, you know, water and food, which is stuff that we really, really need over on Mars. Mars, however, can't really produce anything, can it? No. For the time being, probably, we just want to deliver a load of water as quickly as possible to Mars. And also some people. Some people want to come out to Mars as well. This is why I didn't buy the Doing 919 immediately, even though it is a little bit on the bigger side. Yes, and it's also actually a bit slower. This one's actually a little bit faster. So yeah, another Doing 909 strikes me as a sensible thing to do here. You'd have a little bit more space for not much more money. But then Mars feels like it doesn't, yeah. Thing is, I kind of want fuel efficiency. Fuel efficiency would be a good thing. Fuel efficiency when... And that's interesting. Okay, so this thing uses, yeah, less fuel when empty and less fuel when full. Fine. Let's go for this thing, because I kind of want the fuel efficiency, because this one's going to be making some empty runs back, because Mars doesn't have anything to ship back home. So, mainly, we just want to be shipping a load of liquids over to Mars. We could also ship dilithium fuel over there, but that's fine. We don't really kind of need that one just yet. Maybe also take a little bit of food. It does need food, so take a little bit of food. And then it does need some people as well. Just coach class seating should be... Maybe just 2 more water. The water's really into matter. Yeah, and then also some people. Fine. So this is basically just a great big water bus where we're also ferrying just a few people as well in coach class. Absolutely fine. Let's get that into production. Beautiful. So ship 2 is now in production. That's going to be fine. Let's get time ticking along while we specify exactly what we want that ship to do. For that, we're going to need ourselves, obviously, a new route again. So, create ourselves a new route here. And this time, we're going between Earth. No, get out of the way. And then we're going to add a stop, and it's going to be Mars. Beautiful. Basically, on Earth... Pretty simple. We just want to, yeah, no. Do wait. Wait for a full load of water. Don't worry about people. If people want to come, they can come, but that's fine. Meanwhile, on Mars, we don't want to bother doing any of that, because Mars doesn't really have anything it can actually, you know, ship. Mars has got nothing to ship, in fact. And don't worry about the fact we're making loads and loads of loss here right now. We're going to start making that back over time. It's absolutely fine because we're making good, reliable money through the milk run between Earth and the moon there. That's absolutely fine. So that's okay. Now we just basically need to wait for that second ship to come off order. So that's on order right now. You're loading and unloading. Because I've got my little taxi service over on Earth, therefore things are loading nice and quickly there. Lifetime profit, very, very nice indeed. And a subsidy of $50 per unit is being offered for machinery delivered to the moon. Fine. The moon now needs machinery so flipping urgently, and that, by the way, was all of my rent for all of my starports and whatever. The moon now needs machinery so badly, the price is going to be artificially inflated by the government, who's offering subsidies for anyone who takes machinery to the moon, which is kind of potentially now worth potentially doing like a one-off rocket if I could just find some flipping machinery. My new thing has been delivered. Good. You over there. Start work, and immediately it is full up of water, and it is full up of some nice just little bits of food as well, and also people. So as soon as that is done loading and unloading, no, that's already in transit, sorry, my mistake. Where are you then? It says you're in transit. Oh, hang on, wait, what have I done? What have I done here? I've made a mistake. Oh, I've put you on the wrong route. Sorry, I put you on the wrong route by default. Okay, no, you're going on the Earth-Mars supply ship too. Earth-Mars supply. Okay, there we go. That's, well, no funny, you were just delivering additional water to, you know, the moon, which does actually need it anyway. So you, get back over there. Ah, and our competitors have just started showing up. Right, so now our competitors have started buying gates and doing stuff as well. So at this point now, yep, you are now the Earth-Mars supply. That's better. Now we've got a bit of a problem here, which is ship 2... has been around for a while, it's just waiting for a full load. Which probably means I've made a mistake insofar as it's struggling to fulfill its cargo before it sets off at the moment. Ah! We've got a problem here, which is we've kind of sucked up a lot of the ocean, apparently. We can't produce purified water fast enough to ship it out to Mars. We've had a real immediate impact on the world, possibly because a whole bunch of people have also jumped in here and started doing that. So as a result, what we're now going to do is we're going to change the rules of this route. So don't wait for it. Don't wait for it. Just set off with whatever you've got, and that's absolutely fine. Meanwhile, on Mars, there's no rules at all, of course, because, yeah, there's nothing to pick up on Mars. So now we save that, and that's absolutely fine. And the supply of raw materials is also going down. You see that the demand of water is literally dropping as people are delivering it right now. So you need to keep up with what the market's doing and be prepared to potentially, like, stop a ship or redesign it, or sell it, or buy a new one. So it feels to me like actually right now, the most reliable, safe way to make money, let's just pause for a second, will be focusing instead on the mineral trade. So you, my good man, ship 1, I need you because I think you're presumably waiting for, you're probably just waiting for supplies right now. The best thing we can probably do with you is change your route as well. So the Earth-Moon supply run, we're now going to change the rules and we're going to say on Earth, we're now going to say you're no longer waiting for a full load, do not wait under any circumstances. So now we're just basically picking up what we can and delivering what we can. So let's change the rules there and see what difference that makes. But the thing is, if we're making trips and we're not actually finding anything to pick up or bring back, then we do have a big problem. The problem we've got is we're spending fuel and we're spending rent, but we're not actually making any money for doing any actual flipping trading. So this ship over here that just set off does indeed have, okay, fine. It's got something on it. It's managed to pick up some water and some food or fuel. So that's still shipping that over there. So that's making some good money, and it is still bringing back some raw materials. Probably the best thing we can do at this point would be maybe buy us... Oh, you took... That was mine. That was my wing. There was all this space you could have used, you stupid bastard. You had to come over here and take that. Yeah, probably what I want to do right now is have myself a ship that's meant for raw materials. There's always going to be a market for raw materials, so get that out the way. Buy that. Buy myself a new ship as well. So purchase a new ship, and the ship I'm going to want is probably this quite small, relatively cheap ship. I don't want a one-off, because, yeah, that's never going to be a good idea. And all I'm going to want, really, is a load of raw materials. We're basically just going to flood the market with raw materials, and we'll also just handle a little bit of food, and... okay, 1 less of that, and... 1 more of you, and 3 people as well. Some people, some food, but mainly this is about raw material. Days until delivery, 25. Order this ship. I don't have enough cash for this ship. Oh, because I just spent a bunch of money on... Okay, that's fine. Let's go over to finances and do some financing. And let's just actually quickly take a loan. They're a little bit on the expensive side, but it's fine. It's absolutely fine. So let's just take a loan. I'm going to need... Oh, okay. As it turns out, I don't have a particularly good, line of credit right now, so... Okay, what else can I do? I could borrow... Not much. Oh, dear. Right, I could issue some new bonds as well to make a little bit more money. I'm going to need... Yeah, issue bonds. Let's issue some bonds. That's probably a good idea right now. There's some money. There's some more. We're going to make that money back by ordering this here ship. There we are. I've spent all the money by issuing all the bonds. Now I have enough cash for the ship. Now that's fine. 25 days, that new ship's going to come in and it's going to handle the raw materials because there is still demand for raw materials. What we need, however, that's a bit more interesting is, how's the Mars thing going, by the way? Oh, yeah, you're coming back. Do you have anything on board? You've got literally nothing on board right now, do you? No, you're making long trips to Mars, but you're not actually, you know, achieving anything. But no one else is going to Mars. That's the thing. So what you need to do is... Okay, on the Mars route, you should wait for water. On the Mars route, you need to wait for water. Wait for a full load of water. I know that means you're going to lose some time. You're going to be waiting on Earth for a bit, but you need to wait for the water, because otherwise you're making completely pointless trips over to Mars. What we should probably start thinking about is the Earth and lunar economy instead, which is if we could just get enough money together, then, well, actually, how's the supply of machine parts? There is some machine part going on here. It's not much, but it is there. Now, you, ship 1, coming back. Let's go over to the, not the routes, the ships. You've just made some decent amount of money. We've got a new ship on order, coming in pretty darn soon. Get rid of that. Yeah. Ship 1 has made a decent amount of money. You've managed to make some profit, ship 2. I think that was actually back in the days when you were just doing the Mars run. Actually, that's a good point. You shouldn't do that run. You should do the moon run. You get on the moon run. Right now, Mars is not worth enough to us. So the next time that ship makes it back to Earth, it can just basically start handling... Oh yeah, you know what? I shouldn't have built that ship. I can handle this with that. Okay, no. Sell that ship, get rid of it, fine. So we've just got a load of money back. I think you can sell it by... Water subsidy on the moon has been entered by the local authorities. Darn it, now water is worth less. But, on the plus side, now this ship over here... can basically... Oh, I need to... No, I didn't change that route because that's set to route basis. Now, that ship is basically going to do nothing but go over to the moon, pick up a load of raw materials, and bring the raw materials straight back, which is fine. And in they come to the starport. And yes, indeed, we've got some rivals at this point. So if we want to go over to that, operating profits is... Okay, my operating profits is pretty low right now, but that's fine. Also, my income's pretty low right now. Also, my net worth. Basically, I'm bad at running a business. So ship 1's now on the move. That's fine. Ship 1 did indeed manage to pick up some water and some food of some description. So they will make a decent amount of money. Now, the question is, what are you going to be able to pick up to bring back with you? We've got... Oh, no, sorry. Ship 2 was a water ship. Oh, I should have sold ship 2 and kept ship 12, whatever the new one was. Yeah, fine. You're bringing back raw materials. Fine. You know what? Ship 2, you're not actually currently helping a huge amount. What we should probably do instead is... yeah, ship 2, I mean, perfect world. I'd like to be able to retrofit it, but you can't. Let's see how much money I get by just selling this ship. So, you'll receive a percentage of the original purchase price based on the aging condition. Okay, I think I got pretty much all of it back there. Fine. So ship 1's just doing the water and the whatever run. But I think what I actually need is I need a new ship 2. Buy a new ship. It's probably not ship 2 anymore. And all it's going to do is, you know what? Screw it. Make it big. Go big or go home. This thing is going to be doing nothing but raw materials. We're going to bloody flood the market with raw materials. But we also want some amount of this because, yeah, consumer goods... and food, and also bringing raw materials back home. But mainly, this is just about raw materials. Screw it. This is going to be... I can't afford that. Why am I even looking at that? You know what? Never mind. It's fine. Let's just make it 3/4 raw materials and some of that. The water market is clearly just kind of completely gone these days. Don't worry about the water market. So, that's ship 17. You can give them names, by the way. You can just rename them anytime you want, which is fine. So, just for the sake of, you know, understanding what's going on, this ship is going to be the water... not the water rub. That would be weird. The water rum. This ship is going to be the raw material. It's not exactly an inspiring name, but you know, it means we now know what's going on. Beautiful. So that's the raw material. So that one's currently on order. Now, I've actually got a spare port I'm not currently using for anything at the time being. So, as I've got the spare port, I'm actually going to put a new ship on order as well. I'm going to buy a one-off ship. What I'm going to do is basically I'm just going to say Neptune's rocket for 2,200. I'm going to order that, and that is going to do nothing but carry machine parts. Because right now, machine parts are worth a lot on the moon. There's good subsidies going on. Now, what I need to do there is basically say, you are not going to set off, because this is a one-trip only sort of rocket. You're going to wait for a full load of machine parts. That's what this is. So this here is the machine run. It has only one job. It is to be on Earth, wait until you've got yourself a full load of 10 machine parts, and then take it to the moon. That's it. That's literally its only job. So as a result, my new ship, the rocket, is going to be assigned to that. So yes, indeed, the machine run is your route. Save that. Beautiful. Other than that, everyone else is on Earth Moon supply, so just backwards and forwards, that's okay. So now basically, with that, yeah, my Neptune rocket's ready, but my Neptune rocket, it's going to take a little bit of time for it to actually fill up with machine parts. Instead, we've just got... the raw material is currently on order. It's not even ready to go yet. This can start, but I'm just going to wait for it to... Did you set off immediately? Oh, you set off with 10 machine parts. Oh. Okay, I thought there weren't that many machine parts floating around, but apparently has Earth just been building them like crazy? Possibly there are enough machine parts to make this worthwhile if no one else is doing it. Okay, I thought that was going to take like ages. You were just going to be sitting around doing nothing for bloody ever, but apparently flipping not. Right, the raw material is ready to go. Get it set off right over there. So that thing basically just goes straight over to the moon. Sits itself down and basically drops off, presumably, some food. It's now currently just sitting down there and it's going to get stuck, isn't it? Please actually land. Oh no, it managed to find its way down. It found its way down. I think it was just... I'm not sure if that's intentional, by the way. Like if it's busy skies, and as a result, the ships just need to, like, you know, wait for a landing spot or something. So that thing is now loading and unloading. It's gonna kind of, you know, cost us a bit of money, but we're gonna wait and see how much it's actually got on it when it sets off again. Because if we're lucky, this thing will, when it sets off again, actually have... it's currently in transit with 15 out of 15. Good. And 5 out of 5. I mean, it's almost certainly pulling back raw materials here. Now... this is where life gets a little bit more on the interesting side. Because let's have a look-see at the state of the economy right now. So, There's a demand for colonists, there's a demand for consumer goods, not so much for food. In fact, actually, the moon now has a surplus of water, because a few other providers are shipping water over there. It still, however, desperately needs machinery and consumer goods and people. So there's an argument for potentially getting a ship to send people out there. Let's just check what's going on Mars. Has anyone done anything with Mars yet who's not me? Because I strongly suspect no one is interested in Mars whatsoever. Yeah, Mars has got nothing to provide. But we could, if we wanted to invest out here and we could raise the money, we could have a monopoly out here. The Earth economy, meanwhile, has, it's finally managed to settle. And I think a few other people have basically got out of the water business. So there is now a supply of water again, which is fine. The only demand is actually things have settled pretty much back to how they were, to be honest, yeah. We've no longer got a problem with water. There's still a supply, but less than it was. There's plenty of consumer goods. At this point, a small ship sending some water over to Mars would be at least feasible, and we've got the money to fund it. It's probably a long run that's not going to make very much, 'cause it's a long way to go, in all fairness. We'd probably be better off actually saying, Earth right now, I'd say there's basically no machine parts. Like, we're producing machine parts as fast as we can bring in the raw materials, but there's not enough really coming in, because you need rare resources, not raw materials, but there's still loads of demand for that. Loads of demand. So actually, right now, my second ship is probably going to be making a load of really, really good money just heading backwards and forwards, doing that run with its 15 spots of raw material. You know what? I think Mars is a bit of a busted flush. Let's see what else we got in the galaxy over here, rather just in our little solar system. So, good old Venus here. Venus has got rare resources at 82%. Can't help but notice, how much would it cost to actually, in theory, 350,000? Right. So we could be literally the first down on Venus, but only if we're willing to subsidise an actual colony, because no one else wants to actually go there. Would anything else be cheaper, or is that just like the basic cost of this? That's raw materials, but no rare resources. Yeah, it's 350,000 to go. Fine. So we need a couple of, like, basic, good quality, extremely valuable trade routes if we want to actually start paying for new colonies. But someone else might do it as well, because these businesses are working pretty well. Also, how are our finances doing, by the way? Hang on, just the reports here. I think we're sucking less than we did. Yeah, actually. Our income in the last month has gone up. Everyone else's has gone down a little bit, but the boom has kind of ended. Everything's kind of stabilised a bit. There were some, like, nice, easy, early things to be grabbed, but we're doing alright. Our company worth's going up, Blues is going down. The spaceport on Earth has just been upgraded. Now, I didn't pay for that. Someone else has done, or maybe it just happens naturally over time, I'm not sure. Okay, over on the moon, there's now a good, healthy supply of food. They don't really worry about food anymore, and water's okay. They want consumer goods. They want machinery. Taking over consumer goods and people, bringing back food, even, potentially. Raw materials, well, that depends. What does Earth want right now? Does Earth want food? No, Earth's okay for food as well, but they do want the raw materials. So people, feels like there's demand for people right now no one else is actually fulfilling. And the raw material game is there's totally room for more ships yet. So, let's purchase a new ship, and that ship is going to be, we could buy let's buy a slightly bigger one for the fuel efficiency, why not? Now, this thing's job is going to be, that is for the consumer goods. There's also going to be a whole bunch of stuff here. Don't worry about water for the time being. Let's take over 2 machine parts, because while there's not much available, it would be nice if there were some available, given it's selling at a really high price right now. Let's send over also 4 coach and 1 flipping business class as well. Just for people who want a little bit of extra legroom. Marvellous. So that thing is going to be nice, tiny bit bigger than my existing ship. Yeah, let's get that under order. And that new ship is going to do exactly the same as before. It's going to do, it's going to do the Earth-Moon supply run. Lovely. Save that. That ship is already in order. Lovely. So that's going to be arriving in a little bit of time. And hopefully as soon as that gets done, we'll be in good shape here. Let's just speed up time. That's coming in 25 days. Just wait for it to show up. As soon as it arrives, kick it off. And a new colony has started on Europa. Somebody has kicked off a new colony who's not me. Right. Now that's a good opportunity. Possibly the government's just quietly getting on with that while I'm not paying attention. I'm not sure. Now, Europa. Europa. Right now, there's literally nothing there. Tell me about Europa. Europa needs the basics. It needs water and it needs food. However, what it also has is rare resources times many. Okay. There's an argument for saying that this ship over here could be rerouted into handling. Ooh, but yeah, the problem is it can't really bring back those resources. If we could send over nothing but food, send over a load of food, then pick up a load of resources in return, send over a handful of people as well, but mainly just make it a dry storage ship. Yeah. Okay. That'd be worth thinking about. Yeah, and just send over a handful of machinery parts as well. Water, sorry, not much we can do about that. You might have to deal with that yourself. But if that's what we want to actually send over, mainly just food and dry storage, I can't help but notice Earth might not actually be the right place for that at all. Also, do I have enough? Yeah, I do have 3 spots. I've got 3 spots. I don't need to buy any more for that. Ooh, but that's why one of my ships was cycling around before. Right now, I think I don't own enough places. That's why you were cycling around. I need to buy more gates. Yeah, you know what? I'll buy an extra gate so 2 of my ships can land simultaneously. But the situation on the moon right now. Moon needs water again, but it's fine. But Moon does have some food. Not a huge amount, but it's probably not reliable, is it? No. Best we can probably do is just basically ship over people, food, and consumer goods on a smallish ship from Earth out to Europa. And basically use that as a mechanism for bringing back rare resources, yeah. You know what? Small ship. This is going to be worth it. We're going to buy Gate 32 over here. Let's buy ourselves a new ship. Okay, I'm a little bit shy on money right now, so I can't do it at this exact moment in time because I've already got a new flipping ship on order. Fine. You know what? It's fine. We don't need to rush there. There we are. My new ship has been delivered. Probably we should kick that off, please. You go and do your business. Now, hopefully, if this is all right, all of you are going to start. Let's just slow things down a bit here. Ships coming backwards and forwards. Good old lunar economy. Everything's going fine here. Right now, it's all about the moon. But brand new markets are opening up. I could corner the flipping Europa rare resources market really early on. Because everyone here is just going around doing this business. Right. Ship 27 right now is just loading and unloading. Let's just check what it brings back here. In transit. Okay, I think it's... Okay, that will be it there, yeah. So right now it's just heading out with presumably food. Now it's just going to reload. And if what I'm expecting is happening, it's going to head back with a full 13 momentarily as soon as it sets off. And we, in fact, have a... yeah, we've got a taxi rank on Earth, so it'll be, yep, 13 out of 13. Good. So, that will deliver us... Oh, yeah. Money's coming in super fast here. Let's purchase that new ship here while things are just ticking along. So, Space Bus... Ooh! New stuff's becoming available. New stuff's being invented. But no, we just want a basic small ship for this. Because we want to ship out food and consumer goods and bring back rare resources. That's literally all we want to do. So we're going to do it like this. We're also just going to have... actually, you know what? That should be it. That should be it. They want a handful of people. If we can take them some water, we will, but we can't bring any back. Like, this is what I was talking about at the beginning. I found a match of they need food and they're willing to give rare resources. So, as a result, what we should say is that's going to be our new ship. Put it under order right now. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I know we're not going to deliver water. They can figure out their own water. It's okay. Right, let's just let things tick along there. So, I've now ordered my new ship, the Europa I hardly knew her. Let's get a new run going on here. So, the new run is going to be starting on planet Earth. Okay, so starting on planet Earth and hopefully I've got enough. Yeah, you might need to kind of just hang out in orbit for a bit. Actually, I've got 4. I've already got 4 here. That should be absolutely fine. So, we've got Earth there. And then, way out here on Europa, we're going to add new stop. Marvellous. There we go. So, Europa. Now, there's nothing to stop you doing a big round thing, where rather than just being backwards and forwards, you could do multiple stops. And, in theory, is Mars going to always stay aligned? I'm not convinced Mars is always going to stay aligned. In all fairness, Mars is... Oh, someone's going out to Mars. Look at that. Down in the pie chart in the bottom left, blue. Someone has actually hired a spot on Mars. The blue people are heading out there. So that's of interest. Now, the rules of this route, they're going to be as follows. Earth does not need to... We don't need to bother kind of saying, well... Okay, the big important one, which is rare resources. I would like to always wait for a full load on Europa before we set off again. Meanwhile, on Earth, if we have rare resources, always unload all. Yes, that's fine. However, on Earth, if you still happen to have some food, don't ever unload food on Earth. That's absolutely fine. Okay, so that's going to be okay. So that is now, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that as a thing. Meanwhile, oh yeah, that blue ship is heading over with a ton of water to... Ooh, and my new ship's there. Right, so, Europa, I hardly knew her. She is going to be assigned to the Earth Europa supply. Save that. Begin the journey. So she has now picked up a ridiculously large amount of food and is now setting off over towards, hopefully, Europa. Currently in transit. They say... Ah, there's the problem. Some spaceports on this route are too small for the ship. Europa needs to be upgraded before the ship can even touch down. Right. How much to upgrade the spaceport? 35? Oh, bloody hell. Right, okay. Can someone just, like, land and make us some money? Fine. So that ship is stuck on the Earth-Moon supply for the time being until we can actually afford to upgrade the flipping spaceports here. Right, I should have remembered we needed to do that. Does someone want to do, like, a... No, that's less money. I think we just had to pay money for all of our bloody routes. So, wait for full load. Okay, that's fine. Just get on it, please. Someone actually do a flipping run at some point. Waiting. Okay, too many things are waiting for full load right now. I think what we need to do is we need to change the rules of the Earth-Moon supply. Yeah, don't actually wait for a full load. Just get back to Earth with what you've got. Let's just keep things going. I need some money coming in here. Thank you very much. There we are. Now everyone's in transit, albeit they're in transit with not that much. We're not making a huge amount of money here. There we go. Someone just made a big delivery of, I think, raw materials. Right. Upgrade the spaceport. Okay. When you say upgraded, okay, bloody hell. Europa, as it turns out, it's going to cost us a while before we can upgrade that. 45,000. Right now it's got literally nothing on it. Okay. Also, my cash is negative. I think we just had to pay rent and we kind of ran out of... Okay, maybe the Europa project was a bit of a vanity project I shouldn't have leapt into quite this early. Maybe that was true. Maybe there's also... Ooh, I like what you're doing. What are you even bringing back, by the way? Nothing. You're literally just shipping water over to Mars. Oh, everyone's got a spot on Mars now. Why? Mars can't actually give you anything aside from just being a place you can dump water. Though I suppose it is technically true that, yeah, the water run ship might actually do a better job doing the Earth-Mars supply at this point. Yeah. You do that for the time being. Let's see if we make a little bit of extra money sending you over to Mars just to basically sell water and food. So you go and do that. Meanwhile, the raw material and the material girl can simply stay shipping a ridiculously large amount of, yeah, food over and then materials back, and then basically the same thing. But in all fairness, I think they're actually... Right now, they're shipping more food and people than they are raw materials. So what's the economy on the moon looking like? Ooh, you do need water. Gosh darn it, our water run ship's just headed off somewhere else. You know, it probably wouldn't hurt just to have nothing but a water run ship that's ready to do, like, one thing at all times. And, yeah, we do have a small problem of cash right now. Can someone go and do, like, something productive? Because there's... Oh dear. We've kind of overmined... Yeah, we've really kind of... Oh dear. I've just been liquidated by my creditors because I ended up in too much debt. What I should have done is spotted that we'd overmined the moon to the point where there weren't any raw resources anymore, and thus our ships were flying around with basically no cargo. Actually, not be really sensible would be a ship that basically carries nothing but liquid, because somewhere always needs liquid. Somewhere is always going to be needing liquid. Like, if the water market got flooded, pun completely intended, over on the moon, then I could have just basically diverted that ship over to Mars, because somebody, somewhere, always needs water, because you kind of die without it. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen, that is Interstellar Transport Company. It's still in an early form, but, you know, I'm quietly impressed with it. It's not going to change the world or anything, but I'm regardless quietly impressed. it's fun. I like the fact that the economy is nice and dynamic. It's not just a case of, like, you know, slap down a mining base on a planet and that will then produce a certain finite amount of money forever. I like the fact that, you know, there is the proper supply and demand. You can clearly see it's changing. You can see what your competitors are doing. Ships have very distinct functions. Expanding out to new territories is incredibly expensive, but if you're willing to actually spend the money, you can do things like literally blocking your competitors out of a market. I could have just said Mars is going to be mine. I'm glad I didn't, because Mars turned out to be useless. Mars needed a lot of stuff, but didn't actually have anything to trade for it. But if I'd been keeping a massive cash pile on hand and I'd been handling my finances more carefully, I could have basically gone over to Europa the moment it became available, invested in the spaceport, having let the government actually set up the colony, and then basically just bought all of the spots around it. Then I'd have basically had a total monopoly on all of the raw resources coming out of Europa, and then that would have been really, really damn good, because the moon just didn't have that many rare resources. Nowhere nearby had rare resources. So the rare resources would have always been in demand to Earth, and that would have been just a really, really nice cash flow. I could probably have had like multiple ships just constantly doing that backwards and forwards, and as long as you have them on a relay, you don't need a new actual landing spot for every ship. As long as there is an empty landing spot, you're fine. So I could have just had one spot on Earth, one spot on Europa, and basically just had 4 ships on an ongoing rotation because it's a long journey, and that would have actually just made a ton of money. So I could have done that, but I didn't. Instead, I took my eye off what the markets were doing. I sent a bunch of ships dotted around the galaxy with no cargo. I basically went bust because I was spending huge amounts on fuel, and I wasn't actually taking what needed to go where it needed to go. So this might well be yours, I think. I think it's pretty solid. I think it's actually pretty solid, and it's still an early stage, and I know for a fact they're still adding a load of stuff to this. So, Interstellar Transport Company, link in the description below. Fun little thing, pretty nicely put together, I would say, so I'm sure we'll see something like this again in the future. But in the meantime, I've been John. This has been many a true nerd. This has been Interstellar Transport Company. Thank you very much, and goodbye. This is the face of death, okay? This is what my sudden death looks like. Do not engage before we arrive. Do not engage. What are you doing? I specifically said don't. Oh, no.
No, John.
Oh, he likes that. The Romans touched me.